Peace, 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 love, light of healing, peace, love, light of healing, peace to the gods, peace to the earth. Y'all climb on in. Blessings. Baruch Hashem Yahweh, Baruch Athan, Baruch Atah. Bless y'all. Climb on in. Yes, I'm finna give y'all 10 steps to unlocking the secrets to your healing. So make sure you got your pen, make sure you got your pads. We finna go in. Peace, peace, guys and nerves. How y'all feeling? We finna go in today. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna be very detailed. I'm gonna try to cram all of this in one video. Hopefully I can. If not, then I'm gonna try to cram it at least in 2 videos. But we do got 10 steps that we have to go over in very great detail. So we're gonna move kind of fast, y'all. So just like keep up, write down everything, and then if y'all got questions at the end, I got y'all. Yeah, I know y'all. And if y'all looking at my face right now, look how bad my face done broke out. I went to a spa. Man, and I got a deep tissue. What's massage we do? Yeah, we got lymphatic massages, y'all. And while I'm getting my massage, they say, do you want a natural face detox? We have these natural products we're gonna put on your face, and it'll just be very good. So man, they put that stuff on my face, y'all, and it broke my whole face out. So I'm going through my little ugly phase right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't hold it against them, but it couldn't. Whatever they said that was in that natural product, it couldn't have been that, because it ain't no natural products ever broke my face out like that. But y'all climb on in. We're going to talk about it. Bro, you were thinning out. Yeah, of course, man. I've been Look, I do kettlebell training every day. I eat very, very healthy. I'm down to 145. Y'all check me out. 145. 145. This is a medium shirt. You know what I'm saying? Don't look bad at all. I see my packs coming in, my pecs out, you know. It feel good. So the come from 180, for real, 189 all the way down to 145. And we did it in about what? 9-10 months? Yeah. About 9-10 months, you know, we ain't use no drugs, we ain't do no testosterone. We did this all natural. Detoxing, intermittent fasting, eating whole foods that we grow our own selves, cutting out anything that have an ingredient list. If it have an ingredient list to it, I won't put it in my mouth. If it's more than one, if it say it's an eggplant don't have an ingredient list on it. It's just an eggplant. If it's an apple don't have an ingredient list. It's just an apple. So if it have an ingredient list to it, I won't put it in my mouth at all. Doing that, work out every rising, never miss a rising, except on Sundays. And then we do yoga, stretching, and meditation. And then, you know, just really treat my body right, doing herbs and just flushing my system. You know, you look up and you started off heavy. You look up, you be thin in a mug. You be like, damn, I didn't lose weight. I lost waste. When I got rid of that metabolic waste, all of the weight left with it. So, you know, it's a beautiful thing. I feel good. I've never been as energized as I am. Yo, I feel like when I did my 120-day juice fast, I ain't gonna lie, I actually feel a lot better now, though, because when I was doing my 120-day juice fast, I didn't work out. So working out building back up my muscle, like, I ain't seen no triceps and biceps in a minute. I'm actually seeing those. So, you know, I love this journey. I'm healing along with y'all, straight up. So look, if y'all ready to get this started, type in some 9s. Please have a pen and a pad, y'all, because we are finna go over a lot of information. All right, a lot of information. Yeah, thank y'all. I know my face against, and what I've been doing on my face is, of course, when you naturally lose waist, you're going to lose that face fat too. But I also been strengthening my jaw structure. So, you know, my face looking slimmer because I'm actually doing face exercises. So I do things like that. And then I chew on this ball to help strengthen my skeletal face structure too in my jawline. And notice my neck left with it. Because I remember I used to have on rolls on my neck, and my neck was a lot darker as well. So all of that stuff, it goes away when you detox and you work out and you love yourself. I was too busy loving y'all, and I just wasn't giving myself enough attention. I'm out healing the world while I'm dying, you know. And once you start paying attention and loving yourself more, you start stepping back like, hold on, let me get me together. I can't be healing y'all, and I'm dying by healing y'all. Once I started really focusing on me, now I feel good mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. That's all in physically. All right, so what I want to talk about is I want to talk about 10 steps to unlocking secrets to healing. If you can apply these 10 steps or keep these 10 steps in mind, and you literally focus on these 10 steps every single day, you can turn your body around. Few announcements. I need 8 people. I'm going to pick 8 people. I'm going to give y'all the email to hit up, but we're going to pick 8 people, and these 8 people, I just, and I'm not looking for because that sounds bad saying we looking for the sickest 8 people, don't it? How can we say that to make it sound more professional? We looking for, I want to pick 8 internally ill people to come to my facility, go through my natural therapies, go through my natural diet regimen, go through my natural way of taking our herbs, and go through the therapeutic packages we have. And we want to document all of them from point A to Z, from when they came in with their diagnosis all the way to their healing. And we want to put out a 8 episode, that's what would you call it? An 8 episode mini docudrama series, y'all. That's what we want to do. So I want to pick 8 people that's internally ill, that think that they out of options, and I really want to show and improve that your body heals itself if you give it these 10 steps, and if you give it the right environmental condition. As long as you got breath in your body, you have a second chance. So before we end this video, I'm gonna make sure that I give y'all the actual email. Please hit that email up. It's gonna be about a 12-part series, but we already got the other people because they already healed and they went through their stuff, and we got all of it documented. We looking just for 8 more people to do that, and I think it's gonna be very good to just stick on YouTube and Facebook. We ain't even looking to put this stuff in high places. We just want to put it out there for y'all for free, to show y'all that this stuff really, really do work. All right, that's all. All right, so look, let's get to it. Another thing, if it's not a blue verified check on the side of my name, it's not me. A lot of people been getting scammed. A lot of people been getting going. I mean, they using AI now. If it's not from a blue verified check, it is not me. So if it ain't a verified page, it is not me. And now they using saying Alexander and all of this other stuff. Now, would you go get my wallet out of my coat? I just want to show them the name on my ID. I'll block everything else out. Yeah, because now they saying Alexander Yahki and Yahki this and Yahki that, Yahki Hickman. I'm finna show you my government name. It's the actual name that's on my Facebook. That's how I was able to get it verified. So if it's not coming from Yahki Rapha Elohim with a verified check, or Yahki Awaken with a verified check, it is not me. If the page is not verified, do not send these people your money. No, my actual ID. Now, what you done here? I don't know what you done grab. You grab my insurance. That's the insurance code.
You know what? I flipped that over.
So, look, let me get all this out the way. Does that make sense? Look, check that out, y'all. Y'all see that name? Look at that. Yahki Rapha Elohim. That's what it say. So that's the actual government name that I have, y'all. So once you actually go on there and you see that blue verified page, that's me. Quit talking. I know y'all desperate. Quit talking to people that's not me and giving y'all money to people that say they me. And look, these are the telltale signs. Hit me on WhatsApp. Hit me on Google Voice. No, I don't do that. Let me give you a reading. We don't do readings. We don't do none of that. You can either come to the clinic to see us, 2402 North Highway 67. Lindbergh, or Florissant, Missouri 63033. We open on Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We close Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. You can actually come see us, or you can go to the website www.yakiawaken.com. Them are the only ways I'm taking money from you. If it's any other way, family, I promise you it's not me. So quit calling us, cussing us out, leaving us bad reviews on Google Review and on BBB, and it ain't even us. Half the stuff we be checking that y'all leaving bad reviews for ain't even us. These are people getting y'all for y'all money, and y'all never receiving y'all packages because you never ordered from me. And I say this all the time, but let's keep going. All right, so these steps, I'm gonna give y'all the first 10 steps. So the first ones we're going to talk about is this, y'all. And we're going on tour in January. After my lecture and certification class, January the 10th, the 11th, and the 12th, we going on a big tour, y'all. So all of it will be up at one time. Y'all be able to come see me. I know to get the certification and come here to get this 3-day event, and to basically, it's an investment. It's $1,500 plus with the commission is $1,700. But you leave with a certification. You leave knowing we doing all types of giveaways. You leave with therapies. You eating free food, and then you get me for 3 days and you get a 3-day lecture. I honestly think it's way cheaper than what I really wanted to charge. So to be honest with you, I just seen a Adele concert where they was charging $5,000 a ticket. Adele concert, $5,000 a ticket. Y'all woofing and crying over $1,700 ticket to come learn how to heal yourself when it's almost sold out anyway. So priorities, family. But y'all be able to come see me for $150, y'all. All right, so if the $1,700 is too much for you to get your certification and be certified under Dr. Yahki, then what you can do is just come to one of the tours and pay $150, and you can buy some herbs and spend 4 to 6 hours with me, and I'll lecture on stage. That's how we'll do that. But it won't be so intimate as what we're doing here, and you won't get a certification. That's all. That's the difference. But we're gonna put all them dates out very soon as well. So to the lesson, 10 steps or 10 secret steps to approaching healing and healing one's mind, body, spirit, and soul. The first thing that you need to be focused on is something called ingestion. Ingestion. So what I want y'all to do is I want all of y'all, 1,700 is crazy. That's crazy for you, but the 100 people that bought $1,700 tickets, it ain't crazy for them, But anyways, and look, the person that's on here saying all of that, it's funny how you watching me for free on here right now. And you probably watching me all the time for free. You probably never even spent the dollar with me. So all the free stuff that I give y'all, hey, So ingestion. I need all of y'all on here to type in ingestion. Ingestion. And we're going to go over what ingestion is. All right. So the first one is ingestion. All right. The second one is digestion. So after you ingest the environment and ingest the food, now you have to digest the food. All right. So write down digestion. The second one after ingestion and digestion will be absorption. You have to be able to absorb your nutrients, because if you can't absorb your nutrients, you can't utilize. See that? So we have 1, which is ingestion. We have 2, which is digestion. We have 3, which is absorption. And we're going to go over these things in very great detail. All right. We have 4, utilization. See that? So after you ingest the food, whether it be through smell, whether it be through the vagus nerve, whether it be to you touching your food, whether it be through any of the sensory senses, that's ingesting the food. Traditions, going through your family, smelling the food, connecting the food to something spiritual like religious folks do, connecting the food to holidays like paganistic people that serve holidays do. That's called ingestion. And you're going to see, if you can stop it at the ingestion part, which we're going to talk about, if you can control your nervous system, then all the other ones are going to automatically fall in line. So ingestion, digestion. Once you digest the food, you absorb the food. After you absorb the food and the food is finally inside of the bloodstream, you have to be able to utilize what you absorbed. Then after the utilization, you have to be able to what, y'all? Eliminate. All right. You have to be able to eliminate. And if you do not eliminate these foods, what's going to happen is congestion. You see that? Congestion brings on toxicity. Toxicity brings on deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation. Adaptation brings on mutation, and your mutation brings on a detoxification. The detoxification is symptomologies that you have been programmed or trained into believing that are diseases. So I'm going to go through over that one more time, and then we're going to dive in. I'm going to pull out the cadavers, and I'm going to show you that if you can check these 10 things and make sure that I don't care what you got going on, you can get rid of it. Not me. You. Only thing I'm doing is giving you the information. That's all I'm doing. See that? You are the healer. You have the power. I just have the knowledge to teach you and educate you through me taking myself through these things and then giving you the herbs, giving you the diet, because I'm a nutritionist. I'm in natural science and health. So I'm giving you the information, but I'm not healing you. You doing the work yourself. I can never be on a high horse and be as egotistical as I used to be and take that from you. You are the healer. I'm the educator. All right. So we're going to go over one more time, and then we're going to go one by one. So the first one is ingestion. And this is in my book, y'all. It's going to be in my book. Pre-sales of the book is going to be January the 11th. 111. January the 11th, my book on pre-sales. And then it's going to be beautiful, y'all. January the 11th, Healing the Illusion We Call Disease, subtitled The Bible of Health, will be available for pre-orders on January the 11th, y'all. And what I'm going over is a very, very deep chapter in my book. It's probably the bulk of it. Well, I think the bulk of the book is the lymphatic system, going over the great lymphatic system. Another bulk part of the book is called perspectives. That's a very, very big part. But the perspective is a part of the ingestion part. So ingestion, digestion, absorption, utilization, elimination, Congestion, see that? Congestion brings on toxicity. Toxicity brings on deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation. Adaptation brings on what? Detoxification, and what you will call symptoms of disease. These are 10 steps. And this is literally how you get disease, or how you get rid of what you will call so-called disease. Because as you really read my book, everybody that touched that book and read that book gonna realize we have been bamboozled. There's no such thing. There is no such thing. Straight up. All right, so check this out. Let's do it. So the first part is ingestion. Now, when I want you to look at ingestion, I want you to think about things that you're ingesting in your environment. All right, things that you're ingesting. You're ingesting things through your sensory outputs, things through your nerves, sensory, what you would call sensory neurons. So basically, when you're hungry, it's usually some type of ingestion that brought on your onset of hunger. So say if you driving down the street and you use your smell sense and you smell some food, say it's some barbecue in the air. All right, now the first thing that you have to ask yourself, this is the whole purpose of perception and ingestion. Because if I walk outside right now and I smell chicken grease coming from KFC next door, I'm going to say, that stink is going to turn and upset my stomach. It's going to turn me off. But majority of the population, since they have been trained and programmed and they love to eat chicken, when they smell the actual flesh and the breading of that chicken frying in deep canola seed oils with linoleic acid in there that will kill you dead as a doorknob, your senses is going to ingest that, and it's going to send nerve impulses through your body, and then your stomach is going to growl. It's going to make you hungry. You're going to start producing, your salivary glands is going to start producing saliva, and you're going to be ready to eat. It's literally your digestive system is going to start priming itself to get ready for food. You're going to rub your belly and you're going to say, I want some chicken. I want to go eat. So the first thing you have to think about with ingestion, we're not talking about digestion. We're talking about what you do before you put it in your mouth. The choices and decisions you make before you put it in your mouth. And why did you choose those choices and decisions to put this particular type of food in your mouth? This come with tradition. You see that? This come with what you was taught by your mother and your father. This come with cultural pressures. And that's what I had to get out of. You remember, I'm a Hebrew. I come from a Hebraic Israelite background. I used to love to stuff my palate with lamb, with goat, with bison, with all these other foods. I couldn't wait for the holy days to come around, for Pesach to come around, Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, Sukkot, Tabernacle, what we coming across now, which is Chanukah, what you call Hanukkah. Because I knew I was going to be feasting for 7-8 days and stuffing my body with all of these red meats and all of these unsaturated fats, and just all of these things that's going to be really harming my body. I can smell, back then, boy, you can be burning and putting some lamb on a grill 5 miles away. And my ingestion worked so good because I was so trained and so programmed to think that these foods were beneficial and that they helped me. I can smell it 5 blocks up. Who barbecuing? We need to pull up. But see, since I changed my cultural perception and I changed the way I look at my food and disease, now when I smell things like that, I automatically get an upset stomach, and instead of becoming hungry, it makes me want to fast. So the ingestion part actually works through the 12 cranial nerves throughout the actual cranium. The 12 cranial nerves. The vagus nerve, which is the 10th cranial nerve, is actually in control of your digestive system. That's why you can have vagus nerve damage, and you can go through something called paralysis of peristalsis, meaning that your digestive tract just stopped working, because what helps you move your food along and what helps you break down and digest your food with hydrochloric acid is these sensory neuron impulses that come from the actual vagus nerve. So your nervous system is the first thing that eats the food by ingesting the food. And your nervous system is primed by neurons, and these neurons are primed by dendrites, and these dendrites are basically melanin neurotransmitters that roam around inside of the nervous system, communicating with every cell in your body, telling you when to eat. And the only reason why you get hungry is because you're primed to get hungry at a certain time, because you've been programming your cells and programming the biological clocks in your body. If you've been eating at 7 a.m. when you get up every morning, wait about 6 months, you're going to be so programmed to eat like that. Soon as you get up, your stomach is going to growl. You're going to be hungry because your cells have memory, just like muscle cells have memory. That's why when you're working out, you can't do the same things day in, day out, because the muscles will start remembering the actual exercises you're doing, and then they won't grow because the muscle fibers won't tear down. So every 3 to 4 weeks, you got to switch it up and add, or you have to overload and add more weight for you can trick out the body, because your body is so intelligent. Same thing with the nerves. You are training your body on what to eat, and you are training your body on what to do when you do things day in and day out. So ingestion, tradition. My grandma ate grits and eggs. My grandma ate ham bacon. So therefore she fed it to me. So when I get older, I'm going to feed it to my children. Then my children's going to feed it to their children. Now we are 40 generations in of eating breakfast, eating pig's butt. Right. That's what it is. Because bacon is a slash of a pig's butt, because they use the most meaty part of the bacon with the most fats on it for it can sizzle up like that, right? You're going to eat some carbohydrates or mashed potatoes, and then you're going to mix it with some eggs, or what you'll call lactose sugar acid, and this is your breakfast. You are literally breaking your fast with that, not because you like it, because you have been primed and because you have been trained to ingest that way. You've been trained to like it. And this is how you know this is true. If you get a newborn and you prime the newborn baby right, when the newborn baby start tasting and trypsin start being released and them 2 front teeth come in, now he's ready to taste the world. Put a chicken wing and an apple in front of that baby face. Tell me which one he's going to go to first if he haven't been seeing you eat chicken wings his first 6 months of living. If he didn't see you eat meat and you put that in front of him, automatically based off the colors of the apple, based off the shape of the apples, and based off the messengers and the melaneuron transmitters and the way he interacts and ingests with the apple, he's going to go for the fruit first, because he's naturally a frugivore. Just how dogs know to put their penis in other dogs' vaginas. Ain't never had sex before in their life, ain't been trained, ain't took no sexual course, but that dog is able to go behind the other dog, sniff, smell them pheromones, and know exactly where to put its penis at. And it never been taught that. Same way as within you. You have these natural capabilities and these natural mechanisms inside of you, but you're so dumbed down and you so in a slumber and put to sleep from all of the sugars and all of the additives and all the preservatives and all of these different types of things that's been sprayed on your food and all of the chemical saturation and all the GMO, that you are under a spell. So you don't have those unique natural abilities and instincts that God gave you no more until you detox and cleanse your body. So until you do that, guess what's going to be messed up? The ingestion, cultural pressures, what your mom and your daddy taught you. And then you start saying stuff like, well, my grandma ate pork for 45 years and she lived to be 110. Well, back then they had very, very, very strong genes. You, my guy, don't have them no more. Because her body was breaking down before she died and she had children. His body was breaking down before he died and then he had you. So you eating that same pork ain't gonna be the same thing for great-great-grandmother. Great-great-grandmother come from slaves. They used to sweat, eat poke root salads all day. They was in the sun all day on cotton fields picking cotton. So they eating and they getting rid of this stuff. You're not doing none of that. You don't go to the sauna. You don't work out. You drinking. You going to the club. You smoking. You doing all types of stuff. Plus you eating pork. The odds for you is very, very slim, my guy. So we have to really start taking all these things in. Ingestion is the most important part. I know y'all think digestion probably is utilization, because you need to utilize all of the nutrients to go throughout the blood. You know, elimination is one of the important ones. The 2 most important factors that I'm going to tell you about today is the first one we're speaking about, which is ingestion, and the last one we're going to talk about, which is elimination. If you can fix these 2 things, I don't care what you're going through in your life, we can get you well. We do this time in and time out every day, all day. Flat out. You have to fix the ingestion, the way that you look at your food. For instance, we eat with forks and silverware. Why? That messes with your ingestion process. For one, you're not feeding your food gut microbes. You're not feeding your food the bacteria that come from your skin. That's why in other ancient cultures and traditions, they eat with their food. In African cultures and all the Eastern cultures and traditions, they don't use silverware. Why am I putting something between my mouth and my food when I'm trying to build up a sensory connection to my food? Huh? For one, when you touch the food, it triggers your brains, your melanin neurotransmitters, and it tells them how much to eat. So if I eat 2 of these, I know that I only got about 4 more because my stomach is only as big as my fist. You don't get that measurement psychologically when you eat with a spoon and a fork. First thing. Second thing is when you actually touch your food, you rub your own gut microbes or your own bacteria that's on your skin on your food. So they already priming your food before you even put it in your mouth. Uh-oh. The third thing is it gives you a connection and appreciation for the food. And notice these other cultures, they cook with natural herbs and spices. They don't cook with spices that says cumin powder, yeast extract addiction, glyphosate, all these other different words that you can't even read. If it's cumin powder, it's just cumin powder. If it's parsley powder, it's just parsley. They not cooking with parsley, with yeast extract, dextrose additives in it. See, that's another thing. So notice they cook with natural herbs and spices that doesn't have an ingredient list. They eat with whole foods that's colorful because the colors take your brain and your body through color therapy. I know if I'm eating red today, that means I need root chakra healing. If I'm eating yellow today, not only yellow is good for the sacral chakra healing, but it's good for the gut microbiome. If I'm eating white is going to be antibacterial, probiotic induced, and it's going to help my so-called immune system. If I'm eating green, I'm getting in all of my vital nutrients. I'm getting in all of my amino acid, and it's going to detox the hell out of my digestive system. So the colors matter. Your plate's supposed to be colorful. What's colorful about a brown, crispy, burnt chicken wing? What's colorful about a burnt honey glazed biscuit? And if your ingestion is wrong, when I say crispy brown chicken wing, you probably having a sexual orgasm. Ooh, I need me some chicken. When I say the honey glaze, you probably having a sexual you probably sexually stimulated from me hearing that through you being primed and through you being programmed for ingestion. You see what I'm saying? I don't think y'all realize how psychological food actually is. Food and eating is a psychological process because you have a choice before you eat the food. Just based off the very choice that you have before you eat the food and on what foods to eat shows you that the ingestion is spiritual. It's before we even talk about put it in your mouth, it's already a psychological exchange that go on between you and the food. And guess what you have to do? You have to agree to the bull crap you put in your mouth. And usually 9 times out of 10, you know the bull crap you put in your mouth is bull crap and nutrient deficient as hell anyways. So this shows you that we are enslaved. We're enslaved to our senses. We're enslaved to our bellies. Our bellies and our nervous system have become our gods. And we're not serving our proper God, which is our higher self or our almighty creator, because we are so enslaved to our lower animalistic primal nature. Straight up. I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. You know, I'm gonna be vulnerable with y'all. I've been on a fast. Now, B can tell y'all for how many months now? 9-10 months. Going on a year. When I say when I say real discipline, I've never been this disciplined in my life. I can say the only time I've been this disciplined is when I did that 120-day juice fast. And I remember talking to Bobby Smith. When he first got on the frugivore diet, you know what I'm saying? And he was just telling me, thank me for putting them on, and I inspired, and he jumped on it. And I said, brother, you inspired me because I haven't been able to find that discipline like I found after I had my heart attack. I said, I'm damn near, and I said this, I'm damn near gonna need another life-threatening scare to get my together. I told him that. I said, I'm damn near gonna need another life altercation that's a near-death experience to make me do that again. You know what I'm saying? And thank God that I found it, and thank God that I really honed in and was like, you know what, enough is enough, and did that. Because some people, I'm a hardhead person. I'm a rebel to the core. I was a rebel ever since I was born. My mama couldn't control me. Grandma couldn't control me. Nobody couldn't control me. I always did exactly what I wanted to do. I always had the warrior spirit. Would go out and fight 100 brothers. In the middle of the streets, just me by myself. I always had that spirit. But that spirit is not always good, especially not good when you're going against things that you know that is bad for you. So, by the grace of God, I found that discipline again. And that discipline actually came. You know who really drove me and motivated me? Cali Muscle. Cali Muscle, he had said something. He said the reason why I couldn't, he said, I used to listen to Yahki all the time, but I could never really change over. Even though I knew what everything he was saying was real, I couldn't change over because I seen he was overweight. He said, how is this overweight dude here talking all of this good stuff and it makes sense and it sound good, but I'm sitting here eating unhealthy and I'm muscular and I look good. You know what I'm saying? But he's talking all this good stuff, talking about everything he eating, but his face fat. You know what I'm saying? I can obviously see his neck fat. Like, and I really heard him say that. I said, damn, I am tarnishing the message by not looking like the message. I am tarnishing what I'm teaching the people by not looking like. And when I heard him say that, man, that's when I said, it's go time. It's go time. And it's not to show him. It's not to show y'all. It's just to show me. Seriously. So I had to fix my ingestion part. You know what I'm saying? I smelt me some vegan burgers. Boy, I'm coming. With the French fries not be extra sea salt, yes, boy, I'm coming, boy.
On the way.
We on the way. And look, we had it so bad. Now be tell them real quick.
We travel. We would fly to Philadelphia. We'd fly to Houston. We'd fly to Miami. We'd fly anywhere we found the best meal. We go from state to state, city to city.
A day, first class. Look, hey, look, I'm a millionaire. If it's some food I wanted and I thought about it, me not being Jay hopping on the flight that same day, we flying to eat. Yes, we're going to eat real good and we flying and we're going to shop, spend some bags and we coming back home. That's how much. When I say I was controlled, my ingestion was controlled by, I don't know. It might have been the damn parasites because when I was detoxing, I did see some worms leave. It might have been them asses. And when you think about them parasites, they can get inside of you and wrap themselves around your nervous system and they live throughout your sensory senses. So, you know, it might have been them parasites in me. Might have been a liver fluke or something because, man, when I say food, vegan food, I used to be on the phone just scrolling through vegan dishes. Oh yeah, I'm finna, who make that? Now find out who make that. Yeah. We flying to them today. Yeah. Find out who make that. We flying Philly. Well, look, we in Philly. We in New York. We in Miami. We everywhere just to eat food. And I remember one day Nabi was like, man, you should just vlog. Why you just won't vlog it? He said, you everywhere eating at the best vegan restaurants ever. Why won't you blog this stuff? And look, this how I knew when I was faking it, right? I told him, I said, I don't want the people to know I'm eating this stuff. Mind you, it's vegan. It's vegan food. It ain't no crazy food like Beyond Burgers and all of that. Mind you, it's vegan. But I intuitively knew that it was unhealthy. And that's the reason why I was a fat vegan. That's the reason why I was overweight. That's the reason why. Because I was eating all of these fried foods, eating all this food that's cooked out. We don't know what oils they using. We don't know if this stuff really organic or not. You know what I'm saying? He like, why you won't vlog it, man? We can make a lot of money. You just vlog it, send people here. We can get points. You can holler at the restaurant, tell them you're going to send 100,000 people here. And I'm like, man, that sound good. But hey, if I tell them what I'm eating, though, they going to know that I'm bull crappy. Boy, that's why you have to look like your message, man. I'm telling you. Look, if you get a message and the messenger don't look like the message, something is wrong, family. And I'm telling y'all that. So the first one is ingestion. Ain't that crazy? A fat vegan. How can you be a fat vegan? And that's why I don't even claim the vegan movement no more, period. I'm a plant-based eater and my food don't have an ingredient list. That's my new slogan. My food don't have an ingredient list. I grow my own food. Last time I checked, when you pluck a tomato straight from the vine, it's just a tomato. It don't have these words next to it, none of that. When you pluck an apple from my Granny Smith apple tree, it just say apple, don't it? It's just an apple. It don't have no words on it. If it come with words on it, I do not want to put it in my body because this is the temple of God and God dwell here. And I ain't trying to disrespect the higher power or my higher self. Flat out. All right. So the first thing is we have to check the culture. We have to check the mindset and we have to check the programming and who taught us what food is. All right. Now, as we go throughout the body and as I'm finna show you, say if, you know, because a lot of people say we have been given a car without an owner's manual. And I talk about this in my book, but I talk about it in a different perspective as we have been given a car and our car do have an owner's manual. The owner's manual is nature. And if you can just go into nature and you can study physiology and if you can study biology and if you can study anatomy, then you will understand the actual manual book has already in you and it show you how to use this car. You see that? It'll show you how. But you have to study who you are, family. So no, it don't come with a glove box where you can pull out the glove box. Now it do. You know what I'm saying? Healing the Illusion we call Disease Bible of Health. That book is the owner's manual now, flat out. One of the best in the world. But, you know, before this book drop, I'm finna show you how to just go through your body and see what you supposed to be eating. All right, so we covered ingestion. Now we have to talk about digestion. All right, so in order for us to talk about digestion, I'm finna lift up the phone and we're going to go through this whole system. Could you bag this up just a little bit for me? Okay. Just a little bit. I'll tell you when it's good.
All right.
Just bag it up a little bit. That's cool right there. All right, so what we finna go over now is we finna go over digestion. Now, remember ingestion. Ingestion is with the eyes. All right, there's always those 5 senses. Ingestion is with the nose. You smell the food. You either see the food. Sometimes you taste the food. Tasting food is not digesting. It's just tasting. You getting your tongue buds, your taste buds, you know, familiar with the food before you or people hearing. You hearing people talk about food. This make you hungry. Another thing is you touching the food. These are you using your senses, and based off of the information that you gather from using your sensory neurons. Now that's the ingestion part. And using what you have been taught about food, now you want to digest the food. Now it's time to eat. All right. Now, as we go through this digestive process, which we finna go through very, very detailed, it's going to show you what you're supposed to be eating. So you do have a owner's manual on how to keep this vehicle sustained and on how to keep this vehicle maintenance. But you have to learn the organs and you have to learn the anatomy and the physiology of the body to understand how everything works. So the first thing is going to always be the mouth. All right. Now, the reason why I say the mouth is this shows you that your ingestion is wrong. If you look at the ingestion and then you think about eating meat, particularly with so-called African Americans, it's wrong, because if you look at your teeth, on the average, your teeth is nanometers on the average. Your teeth, and you can Google this. Matter of fact, Nabi, would you Google that? African Americans' teeth are nanometers smaller on average than Caucasians. Let's start Googling stuff. That way y'all can see this. And y'all can look up all the scholarly articles on everything I say. I'm not lying to y'all. So on the average, when you look at so-called African Americans and some other melanin people, because there's certain melanin people in Africa that got teeth for meat. You know, like I don't want to call them Eskimos. What's another word to call them without being disrespectful?
Yeah, they don't like Eskimo. Native Indian.
Yes.
Yeah,
When you look at the darker complexion Eskimos, they are made to eat, like their whole physiology is made for eating marine life. It is. You know what I'm saying? Same thing when you look at Caucasians. They can eat certain proteins and meats and stuff like that. And it won't have a harmful effect on them. But if they eat too much and their elimination back up because they not movement or getting movement in, notice they got to come over to our side and come over to our diet and use our herbs to heal. So, you know, everybody got to come to us. But I notice and I hate calling them Eskimos, but with the Eskimos, when they get sick, guess what they do? They'll get fish and let it rot. And then they eat the rotten parts of the fish, and all of that all the bacteria from that rotten flesh actually heal their body because it replaces the gut microbiota that's already within inside of them. And I try to give y'all the analogy of the birds all the time. When you look at the bird kingdom, there's many different types of birds. There are birds that eat nothing but meat, what you'll call carnivore birds. These are things like hawks, things are like eagles, things are like vultures. They love to eat nothing but meat, but these are birds. But then you got other birds that eat nothing but nectar, like the hummingbird. They like to eat the nectar and the sap of trees. They only eat nectar. They only eat sweet stuff. Then you got other birds like parakeets who are nothing but fruits and nuts. They love nothing but fruits and nuts. They only eat fruits and nuts. You will not catch a parakeet eating actual other foods or other birds or other anything that dies. You see what I'm saying? So these are all birds that's a part of the fowl kingdom, but based off the geographical location of these birds and based off of their physiology and their biology, they eat different things. Same thing when it comes to what they call the human race. When it comes to the so-called human race, you have these different ethnicity groups that come from different geographical parts of the earth that's comprised and made of different biology, and they eat different things. So if you look at it on a small scale, you would say, oh, we all have the same cells. No, we don't. No, we don't. We all have the same microbiota. No, we don't. We all have the same gut micro profile. No, we don't. We all have the same size teeth. No, we don't. We all have the same mineral density. No, we don't. We don't. If you look this up, When you look at so-called African Americans, our teeth are smaller in nanometers than any other group on Earth. See that in nanometers, you can look that up. If you look at our skeletons is different. That's why if you die and you decompose, they can take your skeletal cells, or what you would call your bone structure, and they can tell if you're black or white just based off of that. And that shows you that you have a physical difference and a biological difference from other races. See that? Same thing with your bone mineral density. Your bone mineral density, you have more dense bones and minerals in your body than any other race or species of people. Same thing with your bacteria. Your prokaryotes and bacterial portfolio is more of a variety than any other species on planet Earth. And that's the reason why, since that, you have more cells. It was a video I did where I said that so-called African Americans have more cells than Caucasian people. It got blown up. It went viral. It was a lady scientist on there. Sounded convincing, but you don't know what you're talking about. We do have more cells, and the reason why we require more cells because we have more minerals, we have more carboxylic acid than amino acids. Y'all are more nitrogen based. We are children that eat the sun. Y'all deal with the sun. There's a difference. Not being racist, but there's a biological difference. And since there's a biological difference, that means that our medicine source is going to be different, and that means that our food source is going to be different. Same thing, or the same way as it is in nature. That's why you will see a grizzly bear eat a fish. You see a grizzly bear eat marine life. Sometimes they eat out of a tree. They eat everything. You will see a lion eat nothing but meat. Nothing but meat. Every now and then he'll eat a little grass. You see that? You will see gorillas in the high plains eat nothing but fruits. In the low plains eat nothing but fruits. You see gorillas in the high plains eat bamboo shoots and eat a bunch of grass. And sometimes they eat bugs. You will see a mountain lion eat nothing but what? Fish and things like that. Sometimes if it can catch it a gazelle, to catch it a mountain goat, it will. Sometimes they don't even bother it. They rather go to the fish. But if you see a lion in the jungle, it's eating what? Zebras and everything else. So based off your physiology and based off of where you from, that's how you adapt. You would never catch a mountain lion that's due to the colds and high altitude in a jungle like a regular jungle lion, because it would die because it will actually get too hot. It'll get too hot. Same thing with an actual jungle lion. You will not catch a jungle lion in the mountains where there's snow at. It would die because it would get too cold. You see that? The beautiful thing about human beings is we go through something called adaptation, and we're going to talk about that. All right. So once we get past the ingestion part, let me show you how to do the owner's manual. And as we do it, I'm going to talk about Caucasians and I'm going to talk about so-called black people. That way the Caucasians know what they eat, because they pH is different too. Like, for instance, if you look at the pH of our gastro juices, the gastro juices of African Americans is actually lesser than the gastro juices of Caucasians. It says, according to research, study have shown that African Americans generally produces less acidic gastro juices compared to Caucasians. It's right there. It gives you the article. It comes from the National Institute of Health, from the government-based racial differences in gastric functionings amongst African Americans and Caucasian Americans, secretions, serum gastric, and histology. It's right here, y'all. Everything I'm saying, you can pull this stuff up. So what I'm finna show y'all is, as we go through the digestive process, if you go through the digestive process and you eat according to your biological makeup, you won't have a problem with absorption. You won't have a problem with utilization, and you won't have a problem with elimination. But if you are eating food based off of European concepts, if you are eating food based off of Asian concepts, because we love, and that's the thing, when you look at so-called black people, we don't have our own food. We do, you just don't know it. You like Chinese rice. We call it the Chinaman where I'm from. You see what I'm saying? You like all the Asian foods. You like European, you like Ethiopian food. Not saying Ethiopian food is good. It's one of my favorite dishes when it's critique right for my biology. But everybody come and have their culture on their plate in America, except the original Americans, which is you. You the only one that don't have your ingested cultural programming on your plate. You have been programmed by another people to ingest food, so you eat what everybody else have told you to eat. So now you addicted to soul food. But when you look at what soul food is, these are the slops. These are the leftovers of the delicate portions of the food that you eat. And we didn't, since we are such a creative people, we didn't turn this stuff into a whole delicacy, into a whole christening, into a whole tradition. And now our people are dying because of high sugar and because of hypertension and because of Helicobacter pylori. All these things is not even supposed to be within our system because we are out of our culture and we're in the culture of other peoples, and you have to eat according to your biological makeup. So that's going to make your ingestion different. That's going to make your digestion different. That's going to make your absorption different. That's going to make your utilization different. That's going to make your elimination different. So that's going to make your congestion totally different. That's why we're dying faster than any other people on this planet. That's why we're the highest in disease other than any other people on this planet. I'm not saying we're dying more, but we are dying faster. Who's dying more is the actually Caucasian race because they're dying and not reproducing. But we are dying faster, and we're dying faster of diseases that if you just walked in this clinic, I can just give you a different perspective and I can give you your culture back, and you be like, hold on. And you can come see me in 2 months later and you be feeling way better, way better. That's all I'm saying, family. So once you have tackled the ingestion, when you eat your food, the first thing is the teeth. Now, this is called the owner's manual. You have a manual. It's just in nature. Look at your teeth. Your teeth are not sharp. Yes, you do have canines. Your canines are not this long. You see that? You do not have the capability to tear meat from the bone. Let me say that again. You do not have the capability to rip and tear flesh from the bone. Just based off of this, the first thing is the biting of the food, the chewing of the food. You cannot properly break down proteins that come from animals' flesh. Your teeth, if you look at your teeth and how they're widespread, they were made for fruits, for herbs, for seeds, for nuts, and certain vegetables. And I know you hate that, but that is the honest to God truth. But if you look at other people's food throughout evolution, their teeth are sharper and their teeth are larger. Okay, so some scientific brother gonna get on here and say, well, it's only by nanometers. When you think about nanometers amongst millions of people, nanometers become damn inches at that point. When you say nanometers and we talking about 5 people, that's unnoticeable. But when you talk about nanometers and then we start comparing nanometers to millions of people, that nanometers is much bigger, y'all, on a broader scale. So your teeth are smaller. Your teeth or have more wedges in them. Your teeth are wider. Most of their teeth are bigger and their teeth have sharper points, showing you that you're not made to eat what everybody else eat. You are a frugivore at nature. Now, once you start chewing this food, guess what's happening? Now you're producing something called amylase and you're producing something called trypsin. Trypsin and amylase is actually produced by the salivary glands and produced by the pancreas. Here go the pancreas right here. Now, when you look at amylase and you look up trypsin, these are alkaline digestive enzyme secretions that happen in your mouth. Guess what these alkaline digestive enzymes are made to do? To actually alkaline and further break down the food. So now you super chew this food up and then the food goes down the esophagus. When the food goes down the esophagus, it's going to follow this pathway. Matter of fact, let me get this right here. So you ingest it through the senses. You chew the food. Now you chew the food. Now remember, if you ingesting right, you're eating what your biological makeup told you to eat. Only reason why you know that is based off your owner's manual. Only reason why you can understand or learn understand, should I say, and learn your owner's manual is by going to physiology and anatomy and comparing yourself to nature. So then you eat these foods. When you eat these foods, your tongue tastes these. The more your tongue tastes these particles is in your food, you secrete more of these secretions called amylase and trypsin. Now amylase and trypsin starts wrapping the food, and now you're ready to swallow if you super chewing them right. So now it's swallowing, you going down the esophagus. Once you go down the esophagus, you're going to pass something called the cardiac sphincter. The cardiac sphincter is right here. That's this little door that separates from the stomach. The moment it gets to the stomach, it's going to start mixing. It mixes with mucus and then pepsin. Pepsin is another digestive enzymes. It kind of reminds me of lysosome because it's going to help really break down the food. And then something called hydrochloric acid is actually secreted. Now, when you look at the hydrochloric acid in humans, All right, it literally ranges between 1.5 and 3.5. All right, now, when we talk about 1.5, we're talking about Caucasians. When we talk about closer to 3.5, we're talking about you, so-called black man and black woman. So 1.5 is definitely enough to break through protein. Now, is it going to leave a sticky substance behind through the breaking down of that protein? Yes, it is. But since you are higher and you're closer to 3.5, you do not have the stomach acid to truly break down meat. Yes, you can break your meat apart, but you can't break your meat down. So you never really get rid of these proteins. And that's the reason why colon cancer is the highest amongst who? So-called African Americans, because you are messing up your digestive process. Helicobacter pylori or H. pylori is the highest in who? So-called African Americans. Intestinal cancer is highest in who? So-called African Americans. Why? Because you are eating the wrong food, because you have the wrong owner's manual, because somebody taught you how to ingest your food that is not you. These are the facts, y'all. Think I'm playing? Look it up. Test me on everything I say here today. So this is the digestive process. So the food now gets into the fungus of the stomach. This is the fungus of the stomach. This is the atrium wall of the stomach. This is the body of the stomach. Fungus, body, atrium walls. These little grooves actually mix with mucus and pepsin, and then hydrochloric acid comes out. Now the foods begins to break down. Now, based off the food you eat is going to be how long the food takes to literally break down and decompose in your body. All right. If you eat an apple, once it gets into the stomach, 30 minutes. Once it gets into the stomach, 30 minutes. And luckily, apples come with fiber. That's called a whole food. You see what I'm saying? Meat, days. Look, when I say meat, days, and you never really break them down. Did you know when Elvis Presley died, and he's a Caucasian? Did you know when he died, and he died of some type of colon cancer? Do you know he had up to 10 pounds of flesh from steak still inside of his digestional tract? Did y'all know that? That's been there for years, decades. Do y'all know how much mold and putrefaction that come from? So this even show you when other people that can eat meat eat too much of it and take advantage of it, it kills them too, y'all. See that we all gonna have to come back to the superior diet that I'm talking about right now. So once the food goes in based off the type of food that you eat actually breaks down, yes, you have foods that breaks down faster. Your fruits are going to break down fast. And now, according to our diet, which is fruits, some vegetables, nuts, and seeds, the fruits are going to automatically break down first. The second thing that's going to break down is going to be your watery vegetables. Then it's going to be your nuts, depending on the nuts you eat. Last to break down is always the seeds, because they have so much of a nitrate concentration in them, so they're gonna break down last. And then after that, it's going to be vegetables that do not have that much water in it, like arugula and kale and things like that. And some kale don't even break down. Dinosaur kale, you eat it, it's coming out the way it went in. You see what I'm saying? Same thing as chia seeds or certain seeds. You eat them, it's impossible to break them down. Another kernel that don't break down at all is corn. You eat, even if it's Peruvian purple corn, you can still extract some nutrients from it, but you can't break it down, so it's going to come out whole. Now, based on what I just told you, now we have to talk about food combinations. So I used to tell you to always eat your fruits first, to let your fruits digest and break down first. And then that way, because you don't want to eat a vegetable that's going to take a long time to break down, to eat a fruit on top of it, because it's going to cause putrefaction and fermentation. And then boom, methane is going to be built up because all the microbes going to be trying to break it down. So now you're going to get bloatiness, you're going to get gas, and then you get yeast. You can get yeast infections in the intestines, and you can actually get yeast and thrust on the tongue for that. But the more and more I'm studying, I'm starting to see that you probably should eat the fibers first and put the fruits on top of it. That way the fibers can have you slowly release the sugars from the fruit. That way it won't spike your blood sugar for long periods of times and weaken out the pancreas. But that's a whole nother topic that I'm going to talk about. So then once you eat all these things go through something called the pyloric sphincter. So this is the cardiac sphincter. Now it's going through the pyloric sphincter. The pyloric sphincter is another door that opens up to the small intestines. All right. So now we're going to talk about the small intestines. So once you get to the small intestines, we got to talk about the liver. Let me see if I can find another one. Matter of fact, here's one right here. So this is the small intestines. So it's in the stomach. It spends its time in the stomach or the oven because the food is breaking down here. Then it passes through the pyloric sphincter. Once it goes into the pyloric sphincter, what happens is this pancreas releases a pancreas enzyme. This pancreas enzyme is called sodium bicarbonate, or what you would call baking soda. This is a natural enzyme because the food was so heated in the acids that it's very acidic coming through the pyloric sphincter. So since it's coming through the pyloric sphincter, we don't want it to change the pH of the blood. So the pancreas secretes an enzymatic reaction called sodium bicarbonate to neutralize and buffer out the acids. So now once the pancreas, and it's showing y'all on the way what needs to be working. So automatically, you need to make sure that your stomach pH is 3.5 or lower. And a lot of us have a bunch of so-called diseases because our pH is too high. Our pH is too close to the alkaline. Your pH of your stomach needs to be very, very acidic because you have to be able to digest and break down your food. Remember, we're going over the digestive part. So you have to be able to digest and break down your food. A lot of us having a bunch of issues that we're having because our stomach acid is too alkaline when it needs to be very acidic. The more acidic your stomach acid can be, the better, because now you can truly digest and break down your food and get all the phytochemistry and all the phytonutrients from the food that you're digesting. The second thing is you have to make sure that your muscles and the nerves inside of your stomach work for it can release and push. It's called peristalsis. Actually push that food to what you would call the duodenum or this 9-inch intestinal tract. The third thing is you have to make sure what works. The pancreas. Because if the pancreas is not working, the pancreas is not going to give you insulin to actually be a key mechanism to unlock the cells to allow glucose to get into the cells. You won't be getting sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate actually cool off the food that just came from the oven. So now you can't even alkaline your food before it goes into the bloodstream. You see that? So the reason why digestion is so important, because it comes with so many factors. What about eating your food? Say you don't have any teeth in your mouth because you didn't take care of your teeth. You sure gonna have a chewing problem. And if you can't chew your food efficiently enough, then what's gonna happen? You're gonna be swallowing chunks of food. Since you swallowing chunks of food, this is gonna automatically higher your stomach pH because it can't break down these chunks. That's the whole reason why you have to slowly chew your food and ingestion come in here. Because if you're eating with your hands and not with a fork and spoon, then you know to only take small pieces. See that? Small pieces. Because you're using 3 fingers. You're using your food like this. That's a small piece. And then you can chew that up as slow as possible. Slow as possible. Now you only got a little bit going on at a time. That way when you're fully full now, all the hydrochloric acid can you really break down your food. See that? That's the ingest. All of it works together, y'all. Ingestion, digestion, absorption, utilization, elimination, congestion. You see that? Congestion equals toxicity. Toxicity brings on deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation. Adaptation brings on mutation. Mutation brings on detoxification, which is what we've been programmed to ingest to believe that is disease when it's not. All right? Yeah, we having church here today now, B. This is real church. All right, so now all of the digestive enzymes need to work. So the pancreas need to work. Now, once the pancreas need to work, depending on what you're eating, say if you eat things like an avocado, got a bunch of fatty acids in it. Say if you eat things like olives, which is a bunch of fatty acids in it. You know, monosaturated fats, which is very, very good for the system. This is going to go a different way. So you're going to need the liver because the liver is going to produce something called bile. Bile actually creates itself in the liver and then it goes into what you would call the gallbladder. The gallbladder holds on to bile and further creates bile salts. And what happens is the liver starts dumping bile into the small intestines. And that's why if you look on the duodenum, and this is why the duodenum is so important, which is this 9-inch intestinal space right here that's connected right to the stomach. The duodenum is connected to the pancreas for insulin to go into the bloodstream, for sodium bicarbonate to go into the bloodstream, for pancreatic enzymes to go into the bloodstream. And then you see a little bitty sliver of the actual gallbladder. See that stuck inside there as well. And all this is into the duodenum, because if you eat fats, then what happens is bile have to release into the small intestines, because the only thing that can break down fats in your system is bile from the actual gallbladder that was created by the what? The liver. And that's the reason why, me personally, I will never in my life have anybody remove my gallbladder. Because now how are you going to break down your fats when, other than sugars, which is glucose and fructose, fats is the most nutritional and essential nutrients you need. I mean, you have fatty acids, carbohydrates, proteins, or what you would call carboxylic acids in our world. You see that? And minerals. And electrolytes play a whole thing. So if I was able to put mine in order, I want y'all to put this on here for me. If I wanted to put mine in order, firstly, of what I've been learning now, I would say if you're in hotter climates, you definitely need carbohydrates first. Without carbohydrates, you have no muscles. Without carbohydrates, you have no muscles. All carbohydrates mean is you have a carbon ring in the middle, and then you have a hydrogen. You have a hydrogen with 2 oxygens at the end of it. That's a carbohydrated strand. And in order for you to build muscle, Google right now how much carbohydrates the muscles are built up. You can't even build muscle without carbohydrates. Y'all keep claiming this protein thing.
Carbohydrates build muscle.
And it's really carbohydrates and not protein that build muscle. I mean, these are scientific facts, y'all. You need a carbohydrated bond to build muscle. And what build muscles are full of water. That's why when they hard, but you can see them, it's kind of squishy because it's water that's really building up. That's attaching to that carboxylic strand. These are facts. So the first essential nutrients is automatically going to be carbohydrates. And the reason why is because carbohydrates is mixed with carbon, which is what you made of, because you're a carbon copy vehicle. You're made of melanin, and then you're made of water, H3O2 and H3O and H2O, which is water. So your 2 essential things that you need for basic survival is in your fruits, which is a carbohydrate. See how simple that is? Because it comes with it comes with a hydrogenated carbon. If you think about it, go ahead and read that.
To effectively build muscle, most experts recommended consuming around 8 to 10 grams of carbohydrates per kilogram of body weight per day, with the higher end being suitable for individuals with high training volume. This provides.
So the more you train, or the more you strength train,
yes,
you need more carbohydrates.
Yes.
Not protein.
Right.
Because carbohydrates is really what builds muscle fiber and tissue breakdown and regenerate those muscle fibers and tissue build up.
And it provides the necessary energy to fuel your intense workout and support muscle recovery.
I'm just saying, but y'all on the protein kick. We need protein. Man, that is the biggest crock ever. You need simple amino acid structures, simple carboxylic acid structures from your food. So my essential nutrients will be carbohydrates. And I'm not talking about complex carbohydrates, and I'm damn sure ain't not talking about refined carbohydrates. I'm not talking about a biscuit. That's a refined carbohydrates. You see that? I'm not talking about cupcakes. That's a refined carbohydrate. I'm not talking about spelt that you make out of the bread. That's a refined carbohydrate. Once you start doing all these things to it. I'm talking about the carbohydrates, which is what you would call fruits and vegetables. Then you get your proteins, or what you call amino acids, from your nuts, from your dark leafy green vegetables, and from your seeds. You do not need to eat the meat. The meat is what's killing you, black man, black woman. I know you hate to hear it because you have been programmed to ingest that way. But look, it's messing up your digestion. It's messing up your absorption. It's messing up your utilization. And it's damn sure congesting you, stopping your elimination pathways, which is causing you to be deficient. This deficiency is causing adaptation of the cells. The adaptation is causing mutations. These mutations is what you call cancer. And a cancer tumor, the last time I checked, was the body naturally trying to heal itself. Just saying. Ooh-wee. So I'm talking about natural foods that have no ingredients. From source to mouth, from soil to table. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be lessening the carbon footprint between you and your food. And usually if it comes in a package, it is bad for you. I don't care what it say on it. It's in the package. How long it's been here? Where did it come from? It came from Ohio. Damn, that's like 7 states away from me. How many trucks it's been in? How long it's been in this non-BPA free plastic? What did they use to save it that long? If I get it at home and I sit it out 3 days and it molds and spoils, did you have it in the freezer? Did you freeze my produce and lie on the labels? Is this really organic? Or you using the actual escapes through this organic labeling law to play tricks on my mind? Or you screwing with my ingestion factors? Or you playing tricks on my melanin neurotransmitters? See that? And this is why children from kindergarten all the way to high school need to learn not only permaculture, but agriculture. Yes. That should be a part of the classroom. Because we are dying because we're not growing our own food. And the more and more people grow their own food, you automatically fix the soil. So I don't want to hear the soils are depleted for minerals. Like, you know how witches is, the wicked. The witches, the wicked. That's all I be hearing. The soils are depleted from minerals. There's no minerals in the soil. Sounding like the wicked witch of the West. If we all came together collectively and started actually cultivating our lands again, taking off our shoes and grounding ourselves, bringing more electrons up from that core. I ain't gonna say Earth got a core. Let me not say that because y'all gonna get me. But bringing electrons up from the tectonic plates of the Earth, making sure that we giving back to Earth what we harvest and pulled from it, you will fix the electrolyte and mineral imbalance in the Earth and start pooping back in the grass. See, look, when we start building toilets, it messed us up. We start building urinals, it messed us up. We used to urinate our nitrins and our ammonia, our nitrates and our ammonia back to the Earth. We used to poop out our carbon back to the Earth. We used to give all of this stuff from ash to dust to dust. It was a cyclic recycling going on. You know what I'm saying? Earth feed us, we feed Earth. Earth feed us, we feed Earth. Now they mining our poop. That's the reason why you have a sewage bill. You are paying these people to mine your poop. They're extracting all types of gold, melanin, and all types of stuff from your poop, from your turds. Yes, they are mining your poop, and you pay a sewage bill for them to do so. Well, ain't nobody talking about that. Just saying. Anyways, so you have to fix that. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the gallbladder is because the gallbladder works only because the liver. So I wouldn't let nobody take my gallbladder because I need that to break down my fats. What happened if I'm having a gallbladder attack, Dr. Yahki, and I'm full of gallstones? Break them down naturally. Break them down naturally. 6 days of nothing but apple juice. Yes. The malic acid in the apple juice. 32 ounces of Granny Smith apples a day. 32 ounces of Granny Smith apple juices a day will actually soften up the gallstones. Then on the 6th day, make sure that you drink a cup of grapefruit juice. If you're not on hypertension medication, and if you are, then we need to heal them kidneys and those adrenals. On the 6th day, drink a cup of grapefruit juice with a half a cup of organic pressed olive oil. Boom. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take some magnesium citrate. Two cups of it. Fill it up. And guess what? You're going to be pooping. And when you go and you look in that toilet, guess what you're going to find? Dissolved gallstones. How many times I done did that cleanse within the last 9 months? Right. We do them every 4 weeks. Every 4 weeks. There should look. If the body was made for surgery, which sometimes I'm not extremist, sometimes you need surgery. I get shot right now. Now B is not going to go upstairs and get herbs. He's going to call 911, call them quick and get the best ones. Because y'all need to get this bull up out of me. Y'all need to patch me up. So I'm not an extremist. But if the body was made for surgery, God would have created it with a zipper on it. And the last time I checked, there is no zipper on the body. You see that? Should nobody be getting galled? Why? If we can dissolve them. Why? That's like saying I have kidney stones in my kidneys. Take my kidney. Right. Why the hell you gonna know? We're gonna dissolve the kidney stones, right? Right? We're gonna get rid of the solidification and calcification, right? Huh? It's like taking my stomach. I need my stomach. That's what breaks down my food. You're not taking my stomach. That breaks down my food. Why would I let you take some of my intestines out? Especially some of my the transverse colon is where I get reabsorption at. I need to reabsorb every mineral I got. This body done been through some things. I need everything. Everything God gave me, I need it. Right. If you didn't need it, he wouldn't have made it with it in you. Right. These are facts, y'all. So But that's that ingesting part. That's that training and learning and being programmed. And you just believe in people. And you're not going out here doing the research and studying and experiments and experiencing yourself. So this leads you blind. And when you blind, you will follow anybody you think that can see. And then when you really wake up, you'll realize that they had you on the wrong path the whole time. Whole time. Thinking that they had the all-seeing eye. They walking you to a cliff. I'm just saying. All right, so now the liver. Making sure the liver works. So what we see is you have to have proper chewing. The teeth have to be in check, right? You have to have good oral pH, because oral pH plays a role in how you produce trypsin and amylase, which is these alkaline salivaries that help break down your food while it's in your mouth. So bad pH, yeast in the mouth, bad. Caries growing on your teeth, caries or cavities growing on your teeth, bad. Streptococcus rolling around your mouth, having a field day between your gums, bad. Gingivitis, bad. They've been finding streptococcus and all these other caries, or what you would call bacteria. They find them in hearts. When people getting heart transplants or people dying, they doing autopsies. They finding bacteria that's supposed to be in the mouth and other organs inside of the body. How is that possible if meridian pathways don't exist? Well, it must have traveled through the blood. No, you have meridian pathways connected to each and every individual teeth that's connected to each and every individual organ in your body. What else explains you dying of a heart attack or heart failure because you had number 32 tooth was decayed for 5 years and you never went to the dentist to get it pulled, a biological dentist at that, to never get it pulled. And then it's infection and spread it down to your heart. And then you remove these teeth and then your heart get better. You remove these teeth and then liver cancer go away. You start doing something about your mouth and fixing your mouth hygiene, and you're healing organs internally that you never thought was associated with the teeth in your mouth. Tell me the body ain't interconnected. Tell me that this all ain't holistic healing. But you know, meridian pathways is spookism. That's Buddhist monk stuff. That's too spiritual. It's not scientific enough. But we seeing spiritual things happen every day when it comes to the physiology and the human anatomy of the body, though. That's all I'm saying. So have to fix your oral hygiene, because that's the only way you can truly start digesting your food the proper way. You have to make sure that your thyroid is working properly, because your thyroid is in control of your metabolic process. That's what's going to actually speed up your metabolism. And your metabolism clock on how long this food stays inside the stomach is all guaranteed by the thyroid. The calcium matrix, where the bone actually pulls from calcitonin and pull actual calcium from the bones to neutralize and buffer out your food even more. That's by the parathyroid gland. That's on the back of the thyroid. You see that? There's a reason why these glands are in the order that they're in. Because all of these glands work to do something different while the food enters your mouth all the way until it enters the anus and out of your butt. That's what look, the Creator was so intentional with creating us. The Creator was so magnificent with creating us. That's why every organ is proportioned in a different way. It's not there on an accident, it's there on purpose. That's why every lymph node is in a certain place on purpose to cool down one of these major systems. Every major organ have its own lymph node. The heart have the thymus gland, which is one of the biggest lymph nodes. The stomach have the cisterna caudale, which is one of the biggest lymph nodes. The inguinal node protects the gonads and protects the ovaries, which is one of the biggest lymph nodes. The Peyer's patches protected the small intestines. Anything. You even have something called the lymph node thyroid. Google thyroid lymph node. Every essential gland in every essential organ have its own washer machine. Ain't that crazy? You can't tell me the Creator ain't good. You can't tell me the Creator ain't good. Every organ and gland in your body have its own elimination pathways. And remember, the last part of this is the elimination. What is it?
Lymph nodes in the neck are closely related to the thyroid gland and play a critical role in the detection and treatment of thyroid conditions.
So if you have a thyroid condition like Hashimoto's disease, like Graves' disease, like hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism, you are congested. The reason why you're congested is because of what? Your elimination pathways is messed up. Why is your elimination pathways messed up? Because you wasn't utilizing properly. Why you can't utilize properly? Because you didn't absorb right. Hold on, let me see. Why didn't you absorb right? Because you can't digest. And why you can't digest the food? Because your ingestion, you've been played and tricked to eating the wrong foods. So when you fix ingestion, you automatically fix what? Digestion. When you fix digestion, you automatically fix what? Absorption. When you correct absorption, now your adrenal glands can help utilize your nutrients. Now that utilization happening, you're opening up elimination pathways. When you open up elimination pathways, you get rid of metabolic waste and you keep a balance of homeostasis. But if you mess with any of these 4 to 5 systems I just talked about, this brings on congestion. Congestion is going to bring on what? Toxicity. Toxicity brings on deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation, because now the cells have to go back to their primal state. Oh, hell no. I'm deficient in oxygen. I'm deficient in sugars. I'm deficient in all. Let me build up more acid. I'm going back to a prokaryote stage before the oxygen event even happened, which was about 45 billion years ago. Let me start fermenting. Fermentation brings on what? Mutation. Mutation brings on what? Detoxification symptoms, or what you call disease. The body attempt to detoxify is what you have believed to be disease the whole time, but it is actually your body's natural healing mechanism doing everything in its power to survive, because that is the basic structure and functioning of a cell, is to thrive, replicate, and survive. And it cannot do all 3 at the same time. It's to thrive, replicate, and survive. Let me say it again. It can't do all 3 at the same time. Either a cell is thriving or it's replicating. It's thriving, meaning it's in the homeostasis. It's cool right now. It replicates to pass down its genetic material, to keep things going in this evolutionary pool of what we call reality. It survives when it's threatened. You are in survival mode, and that's why you sick thinking you got disease. But the survival mechanism kicks on a detoxification symptom. The detoxification symptom is what we've been called disease. Oh, the body has a tumor. Oh, a trash bag that's holding trash. Oh, the body has a cough. Oh, you are getting rid of mucus that's built up in the bronchial tubes. Oh, the body have a sneeze. Achoo. Oh, you're getting rid of bacteria and bad particles in the air, and to keep it from reaching inside of your sphenoid and your maxillary cavities. Oh, the body have a fever. Oh, you're not only heating up the blood and getting rid of bad bacteria, but you also increasing circulations, for you can bring goodies to the spots that need to be built up. Oh, the body is inflamed. Oh, that's the localization of targeted cells that the immune system, innate immune system, or what we're going to call the lymphatic defense system, need to send macrophages to, need to send eosinophils, basophils, neutrophils to actually eradicate the situation. Oh, we have toenail fungus. Oh, you rather the toenail fungus be in your blood and not in your damn toes, the toes and the fingers or the extremities. That means they trying to leave the body, not stay there. Oh, he got thrust. You have been played. You have been bamboozled. You have been lied to. Healing illusion we call disease. Bible of health coming soon, boy. Pre-sales, pre-orders is gonna be January the 11th. This book will change the course of his story, her story, your story, everybody's story. And I promise to God that. I'm telling you, this book gonna change the world. The Bible of health. I mean, man, I'm telling you. So. Now, where was I at? I lost my train of thought. All right. So now we're talking about the liver. So once the liver do something about it, now inside of what you would call the duodenum, you have these grooves. These grooves are called villi. Now, deeper in these villi, you have something called microvilli. And these are like little finger projectiles that wave around inside of the duodenum. And beneath that, you have millions and millions of bacteria. Yes, Candida albicans, biobifidum bacteria, lactobacillus bacteria. I did very, very good in microbiology in my course. I love bacteria. I love prokaryotes. I love eukaryotes. I love studying microbiology and I love parasites. We're going over parasites now in my course, and we're going over nutrition at Stanford University. And it's an amazing course right now because it's like I already know this stuff, but to see it from a different angle, I'm like, wow, like, man, like I've been, you know what I'm saying, RB?
Yeah.
I've been knowing this stuff. Been knowing this stuff. But it's super, super dope to see this. So once you get inside the duodenum, which is this 9-inch intestinal tract, and you're going to see villi. Deep within the villi is called microvilli, which is these fingers. Inside of that, you got bacteria. These bacteria are in there. Basically, it's like a workstation. They're breaking down fermented food. They're handing food and nutrients to others. And their whole thing is to take the food to what you would call blood capillaries. So they take the food to blood capillaries. And then once the blood capillaries open and this suctioning happen due to what they call, which is not true, but this is what they call them in the books. And don't get mad at me, Stanford. But they call them, what do they call them? They call them potassium and sodium pumps. But potassium and sodium pumps have never been proven. And Dr. Polyp did a very, very good illustration on this when he was talking and breaking down H3O2. So we never actually seen these pumps exist, but it just seemed like in science we make up stuff sometimes. I don't know why. But anyways, once this nutrients get delivered from the blood, that's digestion. Now, guess what takes over after that? We done digested the food. Now the food has made it into the bloodstream. Two things happen. Before we talk about what goes on in the blood, because the blood is going to go into utilization. Utilization is going to be the adrenal glands. Now, B, have you seen my big kidney? I need my big kidney with the adrenal gland on top of it. While you looking for that, I'm going to talk about what happens. So there's going to be two things that happen. There's two things that happen here. And I'm going to show y'all this through this module. And I'm going to take the stomach out. And I'm going to take this transverse colon out just to show y'all. So there's two things that happen. Once it get into this duodenum, which is this small intestinal tract right here, what's going to happen is it's going to go through something called the jejulum. So the jejulum is the beginning of the small intestines, right? Now, that's where the actual macro waste going to go at. So say if you eat an apple and you don't break down all the fiber, you're going to get all the essential nutrients from the apple that come from the flesh, and you're going to get a little bit of essential nutrients from the skin, but all that macro waste, that fiber, since it's so complex and cellulose, you can't really break it down. So since you can't break it down, it's going to go through the small intestines, and it's going to go through the jejulum. And that's what we're looking at, the jejulum, the ileum, the cecum. So that's when you start getting into this anatomy. So once it gets there, it's going to start making its way through the small intestines. Then once it makes its way to the small intestines, it actually gets down to something called the cecum. The cecum is right.
This ain't it. It's close though.
I'm gonna get this one. Okay. Nope, there you go, right there. I see it. It's right over there.
Okay.
There, you see it with the adrenal on it. So then it's gonna make its way to the cecum. Now this is a messed up digestive tract. So when it gets to the cecum, now it's going to pass through the cecum door, the cecum sphincter. When it gets to the cecum sphincter, which is right here, family. So you eat your food travels down, it goes into the stomach. This your stomach. On the back of your stomach, you actually have your spleen. Then once it goes through the stomach, it goes to the pyloric sphincter. Right here is the duodenum, right? My liver is right here. This is my liver. My gallbladder is under my liver. Notice this is going into my small intestines. My pancreas is right here, right by my stomach. And then right on the back of that is the spleen. So this is how this looks. This is exactly how this look. You see that? This is my stomach. So then it's going to go through. Now it's going to go through my intestines. These are my intestines right here, y'all. This is where my jejulum and my actual ileum is. So it's going through my jejulum and my ileum, and then it's going to get right here. When it actually get, oh, my bad, y'all, wrong side. It's going to get right here. Right here is what you'll call my appendix. My appendix is right here. Then I have something called the cecum. All right, now this is the cecum. So once it gets in my cecum, what happens is my appendix, you see the tail on my appendix? The tail on my appendix start releasing bacteria. Yes, your appendix create bacteria. If the bacteria portfolio goes down or too high, you actually get appendicitis. Appendicitis is when the appendix swell up and it bursts. And if it bursts, you can die because it releases bacteria that don't need to be released in your blood at a high value. So what happens is I get more bacteria on my food. Now, we haven't even talked about chyme being produced and all of that yet. So now once that is produced and I get bacteria, the first further break down, now it starts traveling up what you would call the ascending colon. So now I'm traveling up the ascending colon. Once I travel up the ascending colon, I'm finna start reabsorbing. This is where water get released back into the bloodstream. This is where fats get released back into the bloodstream. Certain minerals like potassium, magnesium, and calcium get dumped back into the bloodstream. This is before the kidneys even hit them, y'all. So now I'm in the transverse colon, where there's more bacteria that's going to help me reabsorb, showing you that if your microbiota or if the bacteria portfolio is wrong in your gut, you can't even reabsorb your food. Not only that, if you don't have enough Candida albicans, or if you don't have Helicobacter pylori, because everybody think H. pylori is bad when it's not. H. pylori is amazing when it's in the duodenum. H. pylori can kill your butt if it's in the stomach, because it chews through the walls of the stomach. It makes hydrochloric acid raises up and it gives you ulcer and it causes leaky gut. But that's because it's in the wrong place and it be at the wrong place at the wrong time. But if Helicobacter is in the actual small intestine, or what we call the duodenum, it actually helps what you call facilitate jobs and stuff like that. These are facts. Look this stuff up, y'all. If y'all think it's mind blowing. So anyways, so now the food, the macro food, not the micro food go a different way. So now the macro food is in my transverse colon, and amazing things is going on because our body wants to survive and is so efficient. It said, even though I got some in my bloodstream, I'm finna reabsorb the rest of that. You see that? I need all my money. I need all my money. You know what I'm saying? What do you say off that movie? We selling bags, we selling dimes, we selling nickels, we selling everything. See that? So the body don't leave a stone unturned. It's going to get absorption in the bloodstream from the duodenum, and then it's going to take up and reabsorb from the transverse colon. And the transverse colon is directly connected to the kidneys and the heart. So you see people like this with prolapsed colons and prolapsed bowels. That's because something's going on with the thyroid, and the connective tissue is off. You see that? And if your connective tissue off, that's a first sign when you come to the clinic that something is wrong with your digestive system. So once you get all that reabsorption, then you go to the descending colon. Then you get to the descending colon. Notice you got polyps. Oh, polyps in the descending colon, malignant mutant cells. Oh, what happens before mutation? Who been listening? Who been writing this down? What happens before mutation? Let me see. There's something that takes place before mutation. Write the name on it. Whoever get it first, I'm going to write down their name, and we're going to reach out to them, give them a 3 better. What happens before the mutation stage? Who got it first? There's a word. Adaptation. Alonzo Alpha Aries. Alonzo.alpha Aries. And we're going to give it to Worldwide.
Worldwide too.
Yeah, Worldwide KZ too. So let me screenshot this and we're going to give it to both. No, if I screenshot, it's going to go dead. All right, you got it?
Yep.
All right, so we're going to reach out to them and give you. I'm going to send y'all 3 bidders. I'm going to reach out to y'all at the end of this live. And we're going to give y'all 3 bidders. I promise y'all receive it. I'll make sure I ship them out before Friday, okay? All right, so adaptation. So if you see mutating cells and polyps building up, that means some adaptation took place. Now, if adaptation took place, what happened before that? Come on, y'all. What happened? What happened before that? What brings on adaptation? What brings on adaptation? They get it, boy. Not toxicity. Toxicity brings on what? Deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation. Adaptation brings on mutation. And mutation brings on detoxification. That's why I cannot wait till y'all get this book, man. I'm telling you. Everybody, y'all still wrong, y'all. It's deficiency, family. Vibe Ladder here talking about some regeneration. No, that's what we trying to give you. They talking about some fermentation. Look, they say it's one of them Asians, huh? It's one of them Asians. So now, once it passes through the actual descending colon, it gets to something called the sigmoid colon. When it gets to the sigmoid colon, it goes to the rectum, and then through the rectum, the actual macronutrients make it into, it's supposed to be into the earth, but it's going to make it into the toilet bowl. Now, that's what the macro waste did. It went out through the large intestines. It went out through the colon. So if you have any type of prolapse in the colon or any type of digestive issues within the actual integrity of your small and your large intestines, you're going to hold on to that macronutrients. Macronutrients ferment. Once macronutrients ferment, calcium solidifies it to the wall. This builds up what you would call calcium plaque. And a lot of people that go on 30-day to 60-day, even 120-day juice fast, they get rid of something called intestinal plaque. And it's shaped like that. That's how they build up, because you're not getting rid of the macro waste. You got to get rid of macro waste. And if you don't get rid of macro waste, it's going to stop you from absorbing in your transverse colon. This build up and it get heavy. And when it get heavy, it starts pulling away from the actual mesenteric wall muscle. The mesenteric wall muscle, by way of what you would call the parathyroid, is holding it on the wall. Once that mesenteric wall muscle get weak, it falls and it prolapse. This actually rips, and then it messes with something called the diaphragmatic muscle. The diaphragmatic muscle is what helps you breathe. So people that have bad digestive system have bad breathing problems as well, because their muscles are not in tune and intact to actually inhale and exhale their lung capacity. Y'all see how all this is holistically close together? All of it is holistically very, very close together and connected and intertwined. All right. So that's what you do. You get rid of that. Now, remember, something went into the bloodstream. Now, what went into the bloodstream? The macronutrients, the phytonutrients, the phytochemistry, all of the minerals, the electrolytes, and all the amino acids that you actually need. That went into the bloodstream. And remember, that went into the bloodstream by way of the duodenum and the microvilli. So once it goes through the microvilli, we still a part of the now we're on absorption. We talked about the actual digestion. Digestion didn't happen. Now the digestion, all the macro waste that went through the large intestine, went through the small intestine, and you pooped it out. But there was a part that picked up inside of the duodenum, and now these things need to be utilized. But before it's utilized, I have to absorb. The absorption factor happened in the transverse colon, and it also happens in the duodenum. That's the absorption. So now you're absorbing all of the micronutrients, and the microbiota of the microbiome is taking and absorbing these things within the bloodstream. Now they're on the train tracks, on the train stations, within the actual train stain cubicles, and they finna be get delivered at each spot. So now in order for it to do that, you need electricity. You need hormones. You need something to dictate and tell it what to do, like corticosteroids, steroids. You need things like that. This is all based off of what you will call the autonomic nervous system, or what we call the adrenal glands. So if you have adrenal fatigue, guess what you're not doing? You're not utilizing anything. If you have adrenal and kidney problems, guess what? You're not utilizing anything. You see that? If you have bad digestion, you're not absorbing anything. If your microbiota is off, how can you absorb? If you are missing all of the bacteria inside of your duodenum, then how would they even be able to absorb through this tract? So you got to make sure that you're taking probiotic pills. If you're having digestive issues, make sure that you add in things like papain, which come from papaya, have its own natural digestive enzymes. Pineapple have its own natural digestive enzymes. Avocado have its own natural digestive enzymes. Gingerbane, which come from ginger root. Ginger root have its own natural enzymes. Kiwi, a lot of people don't like kiwi. They say it's GMO, whatever. Still alkaline. It have its own digestive enzymes. There's a bunch of sweet potatoes have its own digestive enzymes. Look up the natural digestive enzymes in ginger. Let's start off with ginger first.
Natural
digestive enzymes in ginger. And let's read it.
Natural digestive enzymes in ginger.
And read what it say. I think it's called gingerbane. A proteatic enzyme.
Yes, ginger contains the digestive enzyme gingerbane.
Yep.
Which can help you with digestion in several ways. Digest protein.
Oh.
Increases digestive enzyme production. Helps food move through the digestive tract. Ginger is known also and has the ability to relieve nausea, reduce inflammation, lower glucose, and improve cardiovascular status.
Ooh. Hold on. We ain't done yet. Let's talk about the natural digestive enzymes in papaya. I think it's called papain. I believe that proteatic enzyme is called papain. I'm in a total, this is a nutritional class that we did at Harvard probably about 4 years ago.
Yes, it is. That's it. Papayas contain natural digestive enzyme called papain.
Come on.
Which may help with digestion, and much of the research on the enzyme papain has been with supplements rather than whole fruit.
Hold on, papain. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about the natural digestive enzymes in, I believe, bananas.
The natural digestive enzyme in banana.
And these are all things that help you naturally break down your food if you have digestional issues. Because remember, the first thing is ingestion. The second part is digestion. Digestion leads to absorption. Absorption leads to utilization. Utilization leads to elimination. And if you don't eliminate, you become congestion. Congestion relieves to toxicity. Toxicity brings on deficiency. Deficiency brings on adaptation. Adaptation brings on mutation. Mutation brings on detoxification, or what you will call symptomologies of disease. Let's get it.
Bananas contain...
So look, hold on, look. They say Buddy must be a Hebrew Israelite, because look, we come from a Hebrew Israelite background. Read.
Bananas contain two natural digestive enzymes, amylase and glucosidase. These enzymes will help break down complex starches into simple sugars that are easier to observe.
See that? So even bananas have its own, and look, this is the beautiful thing about the foods that you're supposed to eat. Remember I was talking about the we did have a manual to our bodies? Remember that? That's right. Remember I was talking making me miss the street. Look, when I was with a camp, we used to street camp on we used to street teach every Sabbath day. We'd be out there, read, that's right. But look, remember I was talking about the natural digestive enzymes and fruits. This is how you know that we're supposed to be eating these fruits and eating these vegetables, because they automatically help you break down their own foods. Now, check this out. Meat don't do that. Meat don't do that. Vegan Bill Gates burgers don't do that. You see that? Unnatural food don't do that. But the food that you naturally supposed to eat already come with an enzyme booster. A prolytic enzyme booster to help you break down your own food. This shows you the connection between us and our natural food. Straight up. They say Nabi the oracle. No, Nabi is a Hebrew word. It means the prophet. You know what I'm saying? That's I actually gave him the name Nabi. It means the prophet because he see things, man. He's very, very, very prophetic. I mean, he see things, man. He really do. That's why I'm with him every day. He my eyes. All right, go ahead. So let's do kiwi. Let's do kiwi, and then we're going to get back to this.
Okay.
Let's do kiwi. Yes, it does. Trey, been paid. Meat definitely stop energy in the body. You can get a stimulant from certain meats, though. It'll give you a stimulant, and you will feel like that it's pumping you up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end, you crash. You got it?
The natural digestive enzyme in kiwi fruit is antinidin.
Antinidin.
Antinidin, a help me, Bob. A proteolytic enzyme that breaks down protein.
Yeah, proteolytic. Meaning break down protein, proteolytic.
What it does is breaks down the proteins more quickly and completely than the body's natural digestive enzymes. It can help in the upper tract, and it can help reduce feelings of fullness after eating high protein meals.
You see that? So now what we seeing is the foods we supposed to be eating that actually help you with your digestive process, y'all. We actually seeing these foods, we naming these foods. So if you having digestion issues, add these foods to your diet. It'll help, because if you don't digest, you can't absorb. Because you have to break down the food and be able to extract the phytonutrients for when it goes inside the duodenum, the microbiota or the microbiome, or what we call the gut microbes, can actually absorb and take them, fish them through the blood capillaries to what they call potassium and sodium pumps, which don't exist, and that's in my book. And then once it gets inside the bloodstream, now you need electricity, electrons. You see that? Not protons, but electrons to start donating to feed and to actually utilize the nutrients that's in the blood, because it got to get from a station to a station. And guess what helped that out? The adrenal glands, by far. The adrenal glands. And the reason why the adrenal glands help is because it is what actually helps with your blood flow by way of epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, and all these other hormones. And it actually helps you dilate and constrict your blood vessel to push and force the blood throughout the body. And then now all of these nutrients can make it into certain spots of the body where it delivers its goodies, and then the cells get it. So if you have any type of kidney issues or any type of adrenal issues or any thyroid issues or any hypothalamus issues, because remember, you have something called the hypothalamus, adrenal, in thyroid axis. Would you please look that up for me, Nabi? Hypothalamus adrenal thyroid axis. Hypothalamus adrenal thyroid axis.
Thyroid.
I call it the Godhead. You know how they say you got the Holy Ghost, you have God, and you got Jesus. This is what this is. Boy, I'm telling you. Wait till you read it. If you can fix those three things, it'll regulate your whole system. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Everybody keep asking for consultations. I'm opening up the clinic back up January the 10th.
Ready?
Yep, let's did it.
The hypothalamus pituitary thyroid axis is a hormone regulatory system that controls...
It's a feedback system, a feedback loop. Go ahead.
That controls the thyroid function and maintains a homeostasis in the body.
Go ahead.
The HPT axis is a complex system of neoendocrine functions that extends from the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland and then the peripheral targets organs. Good God. Good God. I butchered that one, God.
Now be boy, you belong in the butcher shop, man. But they
one.
got it. They got exactly what you meant. They got what you meant. So all of these things actually help regulate your digestive system, helps break down your food, contribute to the absorption factors, and last but not least, is a control of the autonomic nervous system, and it brings things into circulation for your cells can receive the goodies. Remember that the body is made of 150 trillion cells when it comes to so-called African Americans. It's about 50 to 75 cells when it comes to so-called Caucasians. The reason why we yield and use more cells and our cells divide and die and replicate more is because we require more bacteria, we require more minerals, and we require more what they would call proteins, or I'm going to call carboxylic acids. That's the reason why we have more cells. And these are just facts, y'all. So the body is made of 150 trillion cells, and each of these cells need to eat. Well, they only eat by way of the bloodstream. Right? Each of these cells actually needs to communicate. They only communicate by the glandular highway, which you will call the nervous system. The nervous system is made of three things. You have the central nervous system, you have the enteric nervous system, and you have the autonomic nervous system. You even have something called the invasive nervous system. And the innate nervous system. And this nervous system actually communicates and tells and commands the cells what to do. Last but not least, once it goes through this utilization process, because you done ingested the food, you thought about it. Now you made the choice. This is what I'm finna eat. Now you start chewing on the food. You're starting your digestive process. Then it gets to the actual duodenum, the small intestines. Now you're starting to basically absorb these foods. Now you absorb the phytonutrients, the macro waste, it leaves out of the tailpipe. Now it gets into the bloodstream. Now you start utilizing. Then once you start utilizing, now it's time to eliminate, because when you utilize all of these minerals in these cells, you have a combustion. Your cells poop like you. Your cells eat like you. Your cells drink like you. Your cells do everything that you do. Your cells are even on a cycle, meaning your cells sleep. I know it's hard to believe, but your cells do everything that you do. Your cells fast like you fast. Your cells detox like you detox. It's called autophagy or autophagy, macrotophagy, mitophagy, prolated media, prolated media chaperone autophagy. That's when proteins actually break themselves down and degrade themselves out of the cells. So everything in your body mimics your cells on a macro and a microcosmic type of level. So if you eating, you gotta poop. Your cells eating, they gotta poop. The lucky thing with you is you can go to the bathroom. You have the luxury of sitting down on the toilet. Your cells don't. So your cells poop on top of themselves. And now you have your last system that I'm talking about, which is called elimination. The elimination pathway happened by way of the lymphatic system. And we'll get into that tomorrow, because we've been live too long, haven't we? That's a lot.
They ain't gonna say that.
So let's say the lymphatic.
What number we on?
We went over ingestion, we went over digestion, we went over absorption, we went over utilization. We didn't go over elimination, congestion. Yeah, we'll keep going. This is gonna be 3 days, like I thought. Okay. So I'm gonna answer a few questions now, and then tomorrow I'll be right back at y'all, and we're gonna start with elimination. So y'all gonna have to watch these in order to actually get everything we said. All right, let me open up these lines. Make sure it's questions about this for everybody can get it, y'all. I understand y'all got your own things going on. I'm going to be live next week. We opening up back up the clinic. I am back from out of the country, from finishing the book. So, I'm back. So y'all don't have to bombard me with your own questions. I really want the people to learn what I just taught. So if you can, please have questions related to what you just learned. All right, let's do it. I don't want to hang up on you now. They be like, yeah, whatever. Hold on, it ain't working. Let me see. I thought I just brought somebody in. Let me try it again, family. I don't know. I'm looking at this. This is a sign from the good Lord. Maybe it's saying I done gave y'all too much knowledge and y'all need to break it down and y'all need to ingest it and digest it. Because where did it go? Yeah, see, you don't even give me my request button no more. Have I been on here too long or something, I be?
No.
How long we been on?
I got a screenshot. Tell you exactly.
Yeah, family. Look, I can't even find a request button no more. But look, peace, love, light, and healing. Peace to the gods. Peace to. Oh, okay. They just couldn't get on. Hold on. I guess the other person couldn't get on. Nabi ain't got no spring water around here.
Yeah, I think.
Would you grab it? Peace. How you doing, goddess? Where you from? What's your name?
Hello. My name is Tempest, and I'm from Chicago, but I'm residing in Houston right
Hi,
now.
Tempest from the Shot Town in Houston. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you? Thank you for your
I'm doing
knowledge, for
good.
real.
Oh, all praise. Yeah, we went in today, didn't we?
You did. You did. I had a question. I know you were talking about
Uh-huh.
congestion, and you made mention about the lymph nodes.
Yes.
So I had a question. I've noticed I've been dealing with a lymph node that's a little bit enlarged, and
Where
I've
is it
been
at?
using neck right here.
All right, so that's the maxillary lymph node. It could be thyroidal as well. That's cool. It could be thyroidal as well. Have you ever seen my lymphatic massage exercise?
I have not.
So my lymphatic massage exercise is on my page, but basically I start off by just showing you how to do it. It's in your face. You get your sphenoid cavities and you rub them like this. Then you go down to your neck. You get your maxillaries. Then you go under. You get your axillaries like this. And then you go to your chest and you just massage them down. What I do is give me your name. I will have Nabi send you in your invoice, in your DM. He'll send you the video right now. And it's on
Okay.
my page. It's probably like 6, 7 videos back where I show you how to do it. And then you start doing cuffing. You start patting these certain places and getting your lymphatic system moving. Other things that move your lymphatic system is walking. Rebounding does it a lot. Jump roping does it a lot. Kettlebell training, move your lymphatic system. Jumping in the sauna, whether it's a steam sauna. If it's a steam sauna, do at least 30 minutes and make sure you're above 180 degrees Fahrenheit. If it's an infrared sauna, just make sure you're above 202 degrees Fahrenheit. Actually alternating when you get in the shower, get in hot water, do it for 10 minutes, and then your last 3 minutes turn it as cold as possible. That'll help move it as well. And then compression, if you can compress the body, that'll do it as well. If you in my, you mean you in? No, you said you in Houston. I was gonna say you can come to the clinic and I can put you on my lymphatic bed. That'll move it and get it down immediately. But
Okay. Well, I've been trying castor oil. That worked a little bit,
castor
but
oil will
is
get it
that good?
down, but castor oil is more for like castor oil penetrates on a deep level. It's good for breaking up tumors and stuff like that. A swollen lymph node just means that your body is fighting some type of infection, and what they do is the macrophages, they go out and they engulf these cells and bring them back there to further break them down. So since it's swollen, that means you just got a bunch of white blood cells inside of it, meaning it's working. So that's technically not a